morning. Good morning. Okay, I will be right back. I'm gonna let a few more people go ahead and jump on. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Good morning. Okay, let me get my camera here fixed. I was trying to print out something else. So today we are going to do mugs. I know I've done mugs with you guys before. So if you are new, this might be something that you haven't really got your feet wet with yet and jumped into, so I figured I'd do it again. But if you are new, I do want to let you know, if you go to the videos tab on your computer, it would be on the left side of the screen, and I think across like a tablet or your phone, there's some like little bubbles across the top right under my header. You'll find it in there. If you just scroll over, you'll be able to find videos there. So go back and watch those. Those can be really helpful if you're looking at doing something new. And usually I have them titled right across the top at what they are. So that way, if you're looking to do photo slates or something like that, you can go ahead and hit that, look up that video. So, and then you can just go ahead and maybe just get some pointers, some ideas. Okay, so we do have a few here that haven't done much yet. Okay, great. So now that the holidays are over and we are into a new year, 2020. I think I did one already in the new year, but my days are kind of like running together. So, but happy 2020 to everybody. And so let's see. Let's go over a few things. I have to write everything down because I always have a ton of things I want to talk about, and then when I get here and I start winging it, I forget everything. So just a few things I jotted down this morning. First off, I wanted to thank everybody for purchasing the Scrabble towel bundles. I seen that must have been a huge hit, and it's from a designer's point of view. It's always funny because at least I know when I'm designing, I'm like, oh, everybody's gonna love this, and then it's up. So, I mean, it'll go over a little, and then I'll be like, well, I don't really know. Should I even post this? Because I'm not really loving it. And then it's a huge hit. So, I guess it's like saying, it's like the Christmas toy companies, they're always thinking that, hoping for the biggest thing out there, and then sometimes they think they got the it toy and it's not it. So not that I look to do it that way, but I'm glad that everybody's enjoying the Scrabble towels. I personally love them, and 9 times out of 10 the reason that I do design something is because it's something that I want for me. So that's how I kind of just started. I'm like, oh, I'm decorating, I need something on that wall. So, or I need some seasonal kitchen decor or towels, and that's usually, I never know what I'm going to design. I kind of just sit down every night, and it's just whatever's in my head. So it's not that I really ever even plan anything. There's a few things that I have wrote down that I plan that I would like to do. And then sometimes I'll just check my list and I'll be like, oh yeah, I really wanted to do that. But for the most part, I just wing it. So I never even know what I'm going to do. And I did go ahead and add the black Scrabble towels. I wasn't going to do that, but the only reason I did, I had about, I think 15 or 17 ladies that had messaged me and asked me if I had a black Scrabble towel. They wanted to do that. Their walls were done in black and white, so their house was. And that fits kind of right in with the farmhouse decor. It's not distressed or anything like that. They were just the black. But I figured I had to design them anyways. So since I was getting so many requests, that I'll just go ahead and just offer them to you. So I do have the black Scrabble towels in my shop, but I am offering them here again. There are 15 in my Etsy shop. I am offering them here for 10. And I'm going to do that just for a couple days. Then I'm going to kind of just close that door and then let them sit over in my Etsy shop. That way it's not clogging up my feed, because I hate to get my feed clogged up with just one thing all the time. And it did seem like that the Scrabble towels were doing that. So I'm only going to leave these ones out in maybe like 2 or 3 days. Okay. And Nika, you can hear my dog growling. There's a cat that tends to come in our yard, and he's not a cat lover. So as soon as he sees that cat, he goes crazy. Okay. So I did want to address something here, and let me turn down my Alexa a little. Sorry, music was a little bit loud. Okay, so I did want to address one major thing here. I have had to remove about 4 or 5 other designers here, because I had the same issue with another thing before that I was doing. One of my designs that went, I guess, a little bit, people were excited over. But with the Scrabble towels, I had to remove about 4 or 5 designers here. I don't mind designers being in my, in my group. Hey, we're all in it for the same reason. We want to see what's new. We're all learning from each other. But what they were doing was they were taking my designs, they were purchasing them, which is fine, because I purchased from other designers as well. And then they were just tweaking either a little bit, regardless what they were doing. There was a few tweaks here and there. It was obviously, there's a lot of designs out there, but they were obviously my designs. And they were some ladies in here that was in my shop, or in my group page, and they were tweaking either the number on the bottom, they were changing it slightly, or just doing a little bit of a tweak to it. They were definitely my backgrounds. So they were still using that. So I had to get rid of them. I had to take them out of my group. And that is one of the, the rules here. You just can't steal my designs. And then resell them as your own with just that minor little tweak. So with that being said, if I do find that out, and believe me, I don't catch everybody, but I do get a lot of word back saying, hey, I see this over here and it's being offered $5 cheaper or whatever. Sometimes people just take and resell the whole design themselves. And then there's sometimes where they just tweak it just a little tiny bit. And then they resell them. So if I do find that happening, I do need to remove you. So with that being said, I do welcome every other designer. We are all doing the same things. A lot of us are in the same graphics groups and things like that, and we do purchase a lot of the graphics. I understand that. But I will tell you, I know that whitewash design, the farmhouse one, was exclusively mine because I created that from nothing. That was not bought from any other designer. And it took me 3 or 4 days, about 4 days of really getting it to perfection of where it was a farmhouse wash, where you could it still had that white look. And so I do know that one was mine. And when I see others taking that, that was not something that we could purchase somewhere else. That was something that I literally had created from nothing. So with that said, we're going to move on. Okay, so the holidays are coming up. We have some big holidays coming up. Some of the craft shows are starting back. So if you're doing some craft shows in your area, we have Valentine's coming up next month. That's just a few weeks away. We have, what else do we have? We have Easter coming up, and we have Mother's Day coming up. So those 3 consecutively, and I always say start planning now because you're going to need them. You're going to need to start getting your items together and start marketing them. It's never too early. I even see people already starting to market their Easter designs, or their Easter crafts. So go ahead. Let me see. I'm trying to answer as I go because some of these, if I don't answer you and I miss it, it's because I'm on a phone and it just goes, and sometimes I miss it. Is it okay to refer your name for your design? Oh, yeah. No. You can do that. And I don't have a problem with doing that. It's taking the, if anybody was misunderstood, it's taking, you can always use my finished designs on your products. It's taking the literal design that I'm doing, and then another artist comes in, she takes that design, or he takes that design, and then he just tweaks it just a tad, like by changing the number or by changing the letter out, and then they resell it as their own. That's the problems that I have. So yeah, no, I have no problem with using my name. If someone says, hey, where did you get that from? You can go ahead and do that. Or, whenever you make the product. That's fine. You don't even need to do that. It's just the actual design itself, reselling that design. Not on a finished product, but just reselling it as the design that you've created. Okay. So sorry about that if I got anybody confused. So we got the holidays coming up. Never too early to think about those gifts. So I am actually currently working on Valentine's and a little bit of Mother's Day in there. As you can see, I did one that had some, the love with mom. So that could go both ways. And then I do have some Easter designs coming up. So moving on, this is the one that I have done. Okay. And I know it looks backwards to you, but that's just because of the being on live. So this was actually my mom. I think I called it the mother subway art. So, and then I just did a bunch of these and put them on into one graphic and then put it on the mug. So this actually would be perfect for either Mother's Day or for Valentine's Day if you have a child that wants to get mom something. Whether it be, this can go in a basket for mom with some teas for Valentine's Day, coffees, whatever it is that she enjoys. So I just figured this can go either way, okay? It's really vibrant. So this is the design we're actually going to be working on today. But I wanted to show you some other mugs too that I have. I will put a link to the mugs. I tend to like the these with the colored handles and the rims. I tend to like these a little bit better. They're really only, they're not a lot much more, maybe 25 cents, 50 cents more, but I prefer them because I kind of like to have the designs and then match them with these. They do come in, I get these from Condi, which is, if you're looking to go on their group page, which I will, they're on their wholesale site. I'll put a link up above, but they're known, their link is actually Trans, D-Y-E, trans, Trans.com, I think it is. So, but if you search Condi, C-O-N-D-E, you'll be able to, it'll give you the link for it. So I like these, the colored handles, and I like the rims. You can get the ones where the colored handle and then the whole interior is, you know, black. I love these. These are my favorite. These are 15 ounces. Usually when I do make a mug, I prefer the 15 ounces. Sometimes the 11 ounce isn't suitable for everybody, but I noticed that the 15 is. So I tend to just really only sell 15 ounce, but that don't mean that I won't sell the others, because I do have a few. And then they come in so many different colors. Here's the pink, which I have a design coming for too. I'm in the middle of making for Valentine's Day. And these pink ones were a big seller for October Breast Cancer Awareness. So these were great for that. All right, we've got, I'm actually waiting on a order coming, but they also do the steel sublimation ones, which are like they started out as like the Ozark, the Yeti ones. Haven't got those yet. I was waiting for them to come back in stock. They finally came back in stock. I grabbed a few and they're out again. So here is some camp mugs, and I forgot to order the tops for these. And these are just regular camp lids. All right, so you can buy a clear lid for these. And these are great. However, though, these are a poly sub material, so these are not glass. These are, I love them because I am going to put a few of these in my camper. We have a camper and we go camping a lot, so I'm going to put these in there. We have these ones, which travel mugs, and I do use mine a lot. I made one for Christmas, and I need to make a new one because I carry this a lot. I take my drink with me whenever I tend to head out, whether it be just something cold or something warm. So how much do the 15 ounce cost? I don't remember right offhand. I don't remember. I'm going to put a link to this when we're all done. I'll link you to Condi, and then you can go ahead and look for them yourselves. So here's the travel mug. And it does come with the lid. These ones do not, you have to order them separately, but I just tried, and these lids actually from one to the other they work. So, not that I would put that on there. Personally, I'm gonna just order the lids to these. So the lids are sold separately with these. These travel mugs, and I wanna say these are 14 ounces, they actually come with them. And they come boxed. So they already come in their own box. So the shipping is super easy on these, and they are steel, which I love. Okay, so let's move on. So let's get actually into the mugs. Do you use the camp mugs in the press? Yes, I do. All of these go into my press. I have never done anything yet with any heat wraps, any shrink wraps. I've never done anything in an oven. So everything I do in my presses. I just haven't yet. Is there a red handle, red interior, 15 ounce? Yes, they have it in, I found them so far in a green, I think like a lime green. I have so many mugs downstairs. There's a lime green, a red, a pink, an orange, a black. I might even say a blue. There's a blue too. Do you ever use a convection oven to do your mugs? No, I do not. I've never used one. I do not have one. I only use my presses, so I'm not familiar with that technique at all even. So I really couldn't help anybody with that. Okay, so we're going to do this one now. Now I'm going to just, for disclosure purposes, because people always message me, I do not, I always clean my mugs first. So, some people say don't do that. Some people say do. I get so many questions and so many people will comment and say you shouldn't be doing that. Well, I've never had any issues with it. So all I do is take rubbing alcohol and a cotton ball, and I kind of just wipe my mug down just to get fingerprints off it and get it clean. So I don't know if you have to or if you don't. That's just what I personally do, and I do it to my photo slates. Then the alcohol dries quickly, but let it dry for a minute. And when you're doing your mugs, make sure, I store mine in my basement so they get a little cold. Sometimes when I bring them up and I need to use them right away, what I do is I just take them over to my sink, and then I'll put some really warm water in them, let them sit for a second just to warm them up. So they're better when they are warmed up a little, or sometimes you can just kind of just sit them here and roll them on your press and get them warmed a little. They don't have to be hot. I just don't think that they, for some reason, they don't, mine don't press as well whenever they're like really cold if I bring them up from the basement. So I kind of just, like I said, just room temperature really, but because they're in my basement, they're always chilly. So I kind of warm them a little before I do them. Okay. So clean them with alcohol, get them nice and clean. And then I just printed this design out. It's actually on, it's already ready on my, in my Etsy shop as well. So I just take this and then I cut it down. So let me cut this down a little so that I can wrap it. And I just have a good old paper cutter that I use. I used to do scrapbooking years ago, and I've had this forever. Paper cutter. So I just cut it down. And I wanted it to be a large to kind of fill my mug so that it was almost like a full blade. I just really wanted it to fill up the mug. Okay, so here we go. We got to cut out, and I'm going to give you a little trick for doing your mugs. So when I start them, I just kind of put the tape on, but when I do, the end that's going to be stick up, I kind of fold over a little. It gives me a little tab when I go pulling it off. It's just easy to grab that tab and pull it off. So that's how I do that. All right, let me get something here. Then when I am putting them on, putting this on, I just kind of set this on something so it doesn't roll around. And I eyeball it. Now my mug templates, what I do is, because when you get closer to the handle, they, it kind of bleeds out or doesn't really press well with the heat press. It doesn't get all the way to the edge of the handle. I've tried so many times. So I leave a space, enough space that I can get all the way from edge to edge. Okay, so that's approximately the space that I use. That does not get any print to it, as you can see. And it's never been an issue. No one's ever commented and said, hey, it's not all the way there, because it's kind of like where your handle is anyways. Okay. For the 15-ounce designs, what size is my design? I do these ones 8.5 long and then 4 inches tall. So, and that kind of just fills these ones, the mugs, these ones kind of have the curved edge to it, the bottom. Some of them, you'll get them, they just go straight down. So just measure. It's usually about a 4-inch template, so just measure. That's how I kind of do it. And I am using Heat Press Nation mug press. And this is the 4-in-1 mug press. I'm doing it for 400 degrees and 190 seconds. Okay, so as with any design, whenever you go to put them on, everything I do, I measure. I will even tell you I do that with my flags, because flags are hand sewn, and sometimes I'll get a batch that might be bigger, and I get a batch that might be smaller. Now these would be more consistent, so just measure from here to here, and then that'll give you what you need. Okay, but for that, I do it like an 8.5 long, and that just kind of gives me where I need to be. You might need to adjust that for your press. These ones tend to work out well. We'll see. Also, the magic mugs. I didn't show you guys these. But if you remember these magic mugs, whenever they heat up, they, as the coffee comes in it, or the hot water, it will show the design underneath. So these are great, but I've only found these in 11 ounces. I wish they would get these in a 15 ounce, because I would probably sell more of these if it was. Do I use butcher paper? No, I do not. I just put and I've never had anything transfer, so I do not put any butcher paper in between. That's just my way, and I've done lots of mugs, and I've never had anything transfer from mug to mug. So I just tape the paper on, the print on, and I just stick it in there. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I've seen some people use them before. I've just never had an issue with it. Okay. I know photos. I'm going to do one actually with a photo today. Turn out beautiful on mugs. So I'm going to try one with a photo. Let me get this cut down. I'm actually going to do, I'm going to actually do a photo on a new travel mug for me, so I can get rid of my Christmas one. And always keep your handy book on your times and temps, because they will change even with mugs, which I don't think I wrote that one down. Oh yes, I did. So make sure that you keep your cheat sheet, and I know I've told most of you here have seen this before, but keep a book where it's going to tell you all your different times and temps, because you are never going to remember, from mugs to photo slates to tea towels to kitchen towels to anything. So, okay, here it is. So that was 400 degrees, 190 seconds. And as you see, this is where this is going to be easy to peel off, because I gave myself, as you can see this, a little tab sticking up where I'm going to be able to just pull that, because these mugs are hot. Okay, so edge to edge. And that's just the template that I've figured out that works. It's like an 8.5 template. Now, I know a lot of people say dip your design. I'm just going to tell you from my personal experience, do not dip these in. People say I got hot water, I got room temperature water. Let me tell you, these mugs have just came out at 400 degrees. Room temperature water, when you put this in, everybody says it helps to stop their sublimation process. Well, I'm going to tell you, once you take that paper off, your sublimation ink process is just about done. Take this, don't touch it. I take it, I have a cookie cooling rack. I just set these on the cooling racks, let them cool. They're cool in about 5 minutes. If you dip these in water, because this is really hot, this just came out at 400, and believe me, this is ceramic, it's still holding heat. It is going to crack your mugs. You might not always see that crack, but let me tell you, there's going to probably be some interior cracks in here, and that mug is already going to be weakened a little. So I know people swear by it, but I'm telling you, you do not need to dip these mugs. Just take them, peel the paper off, set them down, let them cool. I don't even use a fan. Some people do. I don't. You can, I guess, I would suppose. But do not dip these in water. I just set them aside on a cooling rack and they're good. 5-10 minutes, they're cool. So that's how I do that. But we are going to quickly, I'm just gonna, and then when they're all done, I kind of just take them, wipe them down, because sometimes you'll get a little bit of the, I know it's a little hard to see, but sometimes they're a little bit more than others. You'll get some of the paper that kind of, just kind of like left a little sticky, and you just wipe it off and it's nice and clear. You'll notice it when you do, if you've ever had that happen. Just a little bit of the paper kind of sticks to it a little bit sometimes. So just wipe them off with a wet washcloth and and you're done. Okay, and look at these, beautiful. Fill these with some candy kisses, some teas, put them in a basket, and let the kids give something like this to mom. She'll really appreciate it. Okay. See, and I've already had this out. I mean, how long? And it's literally, it's good to the touch. Before I wouldn't have been able to touch it. So these don't take long to cool off. Just don't dip them in water, really. I know some of you people say, just don't. It compromises the ceramic. Yeah, they do get hairline cracks. Yes, they do. And I don't know why a lot of people still do that. Okay. Oh, so Condi sells a cooling rack. Okay, I've never looked at it just because I just went and bought some cheap, inexpensive. I actually went to the Dollar Tree and I just bought some cookie cooling racks that elevated it just enough off of the table where the cup sits on, and it lets the air flow, and that's all. So that's how I did that. Okay. So I am going to now move on. We are going to do this one. I'm going to actually I'm going to make a new travel mug because I need one. All right. Same process. Let me look in my book because I know these steel mugs are a little bit different times. At least I think so. Yes. Their temperature's 385. Okay, so let me put this down. Like I said, this is the Heat Press Nation 4-in-1 mug press. I love it. It actually has different attachments. It has an 11 ounce. This is the 15 ounce. A latte and a shot glass. I have not used the latte yet, and I haven't used the shot glass. I did use the 11 ounce, but then I realized that this 15 ounce, I actually can do my 11 ounce mugs in. I just got to tighten it because it tightens back here. I'm actually going to need to do that for this mug. So this one's a little bit smaller at the top where I'm going to be putting it on. So I'm just going to get a little cleaning again. Now, if you wanted, you could probably go ahead and line this with some, put some butcher paper over it. I was just looking. I don't really see any ghosting in here, so okay. So, and this one just has some screws back here that some knobs that you just tighten your press with to adjust it to your mugs. Okay, that seems tight enough. Okay, so I don't even know if this is, I didn't measure this one. I just went off of a regular mug template, so I'm not sure if this is too big. No, I think it'll work. This one gets hot, really hot too, because it's steel. Okay, so I'm gonna let this cool off just a second. So as you see this down here, I imagine if you did like a shrink wrap or a an oven one, you might be able to get a full bleed on this from here to here, but I'm not. I'm just doing this part because it's going in the mug press and it fits in, so I'm not real concerned with that. Okay, so we're gonna, this one's gonna be the same amount of time, just a smaller, a lower temp. Usually I'm doing this on a countertop, so it's a little bit easier. This might be too large. Let me cut this down a little. So this template's going to be a little bit smaller. So we'll see. The last one I did, I didn't have a full wrap on it. It was just an image I just put on each side, so a little hard to do one-handed. And I know with these ones, the bottoms got kind of weird on them, so I might need to cut this down because it tapers at the bottom. So it starts to taper, and let me show you how this one did, because I had messed up. See how like at the bottom it kind of like went off? Then I realized I had to move the design up a little bit. So that's what you need to do on this one. So this one here does a little bit more adjusting than, and I find that with a lot of mugs, you just got to adjust them from the different style of mug, from one to the other. And this one's no different. So I'm actually going to put, we just had our 25th anniversary in September. And I've got a picture with all of my grandchildren. So that's what I'm going to put on this one. And then just make sure that you have it completely, like the whole design's covered when you're doing this. And that's $3.85 for 190 seconds for these. You need a travel mug. I've got about 4 ghosting. Well, let me tell you, this was a ruined one. That's why this one was mine. That was my first attempt at these. I actually had made these for like our mail lady and things like that. So, but that was my first attempt, and I was like, oh, fail. So this becomes mine. Isn't that funny? Because all of, and I'm sure that you guys are like this too, any of my failed mugs, any of my failed tea towels, kitchen towels, anything like that, photo slates, whatever, flags, garden flags, they're usually here on display. I'm using them. Now I don't usually take them out of the house, because I do want people to think that I actually know what I'm doing and that my products are actually nice. But for the most part, I will use all of the oops ones. They end up coming here and finding a home somewhere. So sometimes my kids get them too. I'll be like, hey, I messed this up a little, can't sell it, but would you like this? So yeah, but when I do go out, even though I carry this one, it usually sits in my car. I like to take something that's nice, just because I want people to see that I actually do know what I'm doing and that I actually can make a nice product. Because I want someone to say, hey, where'd you get that? And I would like to say, hey, I made it. And they look at it and be like, no. So hopefully this one will turn out. And everything with sublimation is a learning process. So I mess up. The other day, what was I doing? I was making, I don't even remember what I was making. I'd made them so many times before. And I said to my husband, I was on my 4th one, and I just couldn't get it right. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm moving on to something else because I'm having a bad day with this. What kind of paper are you using for the pictures? I'm just using my sublimation. I use a sub paper. Let me see. This is the actual papers that I use. I like the 125G. I find that this one, there is a 120, and I think it's a little bit thicker. It tends to sometimes jam up my Epson. So, and as you can see, I have a converted Epson. So that's what I use. This is the 7720. So I find that I like, in my printers, for at least for this one, I like the 125G. The other one, like I said, it tends to want to jam up this one. So I just don't like that one. I've tried it and it wasn't for me. So when the mug's cool enough, I just take and I wipe it off again with some rubbing alcohol. Okay, we are done. All right. Let's see how this turns out. I've only done 3 of these mugs, so we'll see. This is not something that I've done a lot in. So let's see if it works. Aw. And there it is. Okay, so turns out nice. I will tell you, I've noticed when you're doing pictures, okay, and as you can see, some of the paper is on here. It might be hard for you to tell because of the glare. But once I wipe this off, this will be a little bit more vibrant because there's a little bit of the white film of the paper sometimes. And then when you wipe it down, it looks good. Okay. I forget what I was saying. Oh, with the photos. I have noticed that when I do photos and I transfer them to slates, mugs and things like that, I need to lighten them up in the program that I'm using. For some reason, when you get a really nice photo and it seems like it's a crisp, nice photo, and then you put it on a mug, you put it on a photo slate, anything like that, it tends to be super dark. And a lot of people's like, why is my photo so dark? I've learned in Photoshop, what I do is I take my photo and I lighten it. From the original photo, I lighten it up. And I'll give it some brightness. So once, don't over brighten it, but lighten it up. And then when you lighten it up, it turns out better. It's not so dark. It's more of the actual photo that you have. So that's just what I've learned. So maybe if you're having problems with your photos, with your slates being so dark or your mugs, lighten them up in the program that you're using and then go ahead and print them. Okay? So that might be better. All right, so, and here I am with all of my grandchildren. So we were lucky enough to get all 7 of our grandchildren together, which they are from the age of 5 to, well, this was actually from the age of 5 to, we had the baby there, and I think she was just a couple weeks, maybe in just 2 months there. So there we are. Me and the hubby with all 7 of our grandchildren. We have a house full of love here. So, your pictures are coming out too light. What could you be doing wrong? You can always try to go ahead and darken them up. So if they're coming out too light, maybe go ahead and adjust in your program that you're using. Go ahead and adjust them to darken them up just a little bit. So maybe that might be the issue. Sometimes the lightness is you're not leaving your item press long enough, and you're not getting a good enough image press. Where do I get these cups? These are from Condi. Okay, I'm gonna leave a link. All right, so I got a new travel mug. I hurried out and printed this morning. I actually wanted to put some wording here, but I was in a hurry. I forgot to do it last night, and at the last minute I was like, oh, I forgot to print that. I printed the other ones out and forgot to do this one. So I accidentally printed 2 of the other. Your reds come out more orange. Maybe you need to, I don't know what program you use, but whatever ink manufacturer you use, you need to always check your ink manufacturer, because a lot of times they will have your color profiles need to match up. So your color profile might not be right with the inks that you use. So wherever you bought your inks, you need to check with them on the color profiles. So when you print your pictures, they're too dark, right? Okay, so lighten them up. That's all I did. I actually took this original photo and I put it into Photoshop and I just lightened the brightness on it, and here we are. Because if I would have printed this, the original photo, it would have been too dark. But now it's not, because I just lightened up the photo, and there it is. Don't go too light, but just lighten it up. Make it a little bit lighter and it'll print nicely. You use the sawgrass. You probably, or did you get your, I don't use a sawgrass, but I see everybody says it, you're printing from the VPM. So your color profiles, wherever you got your sawgrass at, you need to call and they will help you with that. But you need to get your color profiles correct, because it sounds like it's not. Your oranges shouldn't be, your reds shouldn't be printing orange. They should be red. So just contact the person you bought your sawgrass off of, or your ink manufacturer. They should have a color profile that you should be able to download into your program and make your colors correct. Okay. Also, and I am going to say this like I always do. I do want to let everybody know, or tell everybody, that before, I see a lot of people, and I'm in a ton of groups, I see a lot of people saying, I have 20 mugs to do, I have 20 shirts to do, I got an order for this, I got an order for that, and my things are not turning out right. My items, I'm wasting more than I'm making a profit from. From a business standpoint, do not sell an item until you've made it. All right? Until you have perfected that. Because let me tell you, I might be able to do mugs, you might not be able to. I know I've said this 1,000 times. My first thing that I started with, I had a mug press. I bought my mug press first because I really wanted to do mugs. I wanted to give them out as gifts. And my first 20 mugs were horrible. I just couldn't get them right. I didn't know how to do them. Had I done any orders for them or anything like that, I would have been a mess. So with any item, make sure you perfect it. Because I can do photo slates don't mean that you can do photo slates. And I still have issues with other items that I cannot do. And I will not sell them. I won't even offer them. I won't even let anybody even know that I am even working on them, that they might be something I'm offer, because there has been things that I have failed at, and I'm still trying to perfect them. So don't offer any items in your shop unless you know that you can do them. So practice, practice, practice before you sell. Okay, so let me just give you that little piece of advice. I see so many people in other groups panicking over, they got to get orders out, they're wasting product, they're looking for product because their shipments won't be there and they wasted the items they were supposed to sell. Don't do that. That's not good business. Don't give yourself a bad name before you give yourself a good name, because it's hard to recover from a bad name. Believe me, I know. I've had some, even just getting some Etsy designs out there, and people download them, or they bought them and thinking they were other items, and then they give you a bad review. It's hard to bring that back up, and I tend to try to report those because, a lot of the times, I just had one where someone she said, I'm click happy and I just bought your designs thinking she actually thought they were finished products. Why she thought she could get a finished product for $3 was beyond me, but she had bought, I want to say 10 items, and she thought they were all finished designs. And even though they say digital designs or designs or sublimation, or in the description it'll tell you that this is not a physical product. Well, she left me a bad review. So with 14, I think it was 10 or 14, with 14 bad reviews on something she thought was a physical product, it took me a while to recover. I mean, I did report that with Etsy and had it eventually removed, but it brought my 5-star rating down to 4.5. So same with you. Don't give yourself a bad name before you give yourself a good name. All right. What size cups do you sell the most of? Recommend 15 ounce. I absolutely sell. I'm going to show you the difference. This is an 11 ounce cup. this is a 15-ounce cup. I prefer to honestly only sell, I have a few 11-ounce. Let me show you what this is. This is the magic mug, and once it gets warm, it will show a design. This doesn't have a design. I have one. But see how it gets hot and does that? Let me see if I have one with a design. No, I do not. I do not have one with a design. But these are really only the magic mugs are the ones that I tend to sell the 11 ounces of. I have a few of these. 15 ounce, because I'll tell you why. They're only a few, maybe a quarter more, 50 cents more. I can't remember. For the cost that you sell, that you purchase these for, and then for the amount of people that will prefer a 15 ounce over an 11 ounce is so much greater, at least for me, for my customers. These are the ones that I sell the most of and usually only sell. So anybody can put 11 ounces of drink into a 15, but people can't put 15 ounces into an 11. So I go with the 15 ounce mugs, always. They are my absolute favorite. If you missed the tutorial on these magic mugs, I do have it, the video, if you ever want to look at these. These are awesome. I wish they would make these in 15 ounces. I have requested these several times. I don't know why they don't. Do I find that the magic mugs show their design through still when they're cold? It just depends on the design. I've had some designs that you can barely see. I had some designs that they were really bright and you could see it slightly. And that's okay. It's the nature of the mug. I don't stress over it. There's nothing you can do about it. So some designs are a little bit different. Some brighter pictures you can see through. But for the most part, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's not a huge deal. I don't really worry about it. I just did one for my sister for Christmas, and it had she did a photo shoot with my daughter, and I did her pictures. I just had it all over, and you could see it a little bit, especially in different lighting. She never complained. Nobody ever does. I've never had anybody say, hey, I can see that through there. So I wouldn't stress over it. You can put a little disclaimer in, depending on image. You might be able to see a light, vague image through the black, but if you want to. I've never had anybody complain. Please tell your fiance that. He thinks that I can just throw anything on my Etsy group. Nope, I got to do it and feel confident. Absolutely. And tell him you want a good name before you don't want a bad name before you want a good name. So, and sublimation is practice, practice, practice. I had a hard time with the mugs in the beginning, and then until I figured out what I was doing wrong, and I also had a hard time with photo slates were the thorn in my side. It took me a lot of photo slates, and photo slates are not cheap. So I was burning through $8 and $10 photo slates like crazy. I know when I first did photo slates, they were, the ones I had ordered were $8 a piece, a little over $8. I did 10 of them that I ruined before I even got my first one to even be enough that I was like, I'll even keep that. So, it's just be wise when you do them. Okay, I'm actually waiting for a delivery to come. I've never done these before. This is something that I want to go ahead and I'm hoping I love them. I bought a lot of them to offer here in my group. I'm not going to give away the surprise, but I got them at a great deal. I'm going to pass them off as a great deal. These, hopefully they're coming. I got a call from UPS because they're actually, which shocked me, they're coming in on a flat truck. So I ordered a lot of them, and they're heavy. So I guess they're heavy. I wasn't expecting the weight. If so, I don't know if it's just because I have a lot coming. So I'm actually waiting for those, and that's hopefully what I'm going to be doing with you in my next tutorial, in my next live. That might scare to go through a ton, yeah. It's scary whenever you're trying to get your products right and you're wasting. Like I had an $80 waste, 80 plus, with those photo slates. Okay. You have a hard time with mugs. You get one good one out of 4. My main issue is having random lint spots. Okay, so that was what I had noticed with mine, and that's why I clean mine and rub them down with, you can use a paper towel or a cotton swab. I use a cotton swab, and then with the rubbing alcohol, clean them up really good, and then I literally take a paper towel and I wipe it off really good. And then I will go ahead and press it. I'll put the print on it. So maybe that'll help. Condi, just do that Condi, and then it'll come up. It should be Dyetrans, DYETRANS.com. So it's Dyetrans. I think that's what they must have started out as years ago, and just never changed their website. So Tasha, you might want to search that. I'm going to put a link. So as soon as this is over. All right. Anybody have any other questions? Any other comments? Hopefully my shipment will get here today, and I will have something new for you guys. And this will be a Valentine thing, so I'm hoping they get here soon, because I really want to get them worked on, and I've never pressed it before, so we're gonna see. Okay, great. All right, everybody, happy Wednesday, and I will be talking to you again. All right, till then, everybody have a great rest of the week and into the weekend, and I will see you probably early next week for hopefully a new tutorial, new live. All right, everybody, have a good day.